matter what, we come together for the good of our constituents, and I'm proud and honored to lead the People's House of the New York State Legislature.
The health and protection of the human beings that live in our districts is our responsibility.
Frederick Douglass's words for us today, I quote, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress."
If you want equity to happen, then this is where it happens.
All of us have a responsibility to the greater good.
The House will come to order.
Welcome to Assembly Update. I'm Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara, your host for this season. We are in our second episode post-legislative session, and we're excited to have some guests from our community. And today, my guest is my good friend Will Rivas from the city of Schenectady. He's joining me to talk about a number of different things he is involved with. He's had a significant impact on our community. He's a great partner. He has helped me with my work here at the state capitol. I'm very pleased to have him in the studio. Welcome, Will.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming up to visit us. You've been on the show a few times, and it seems like we have more and more to talk about every time you come up.
Yes, it does.
And I'm always amazed with the energy level that you carry with you, and the way you just encourage people to join in on a number of different organizations and causes that are helping our community. And we're going to talk about the 518 Unity Cup. Before we do that, I do want to talk about Cocoa House and what's happening since the last time we talked.
Yeah.
A lot of new programming, a lot of new additions. We'll say additions. I know I saw some of the construction going on. Let's talk about what's happening there.
Yeah, well, interesting enough, during the pandemic, we had the opportunity to bring on a new board, some new board members. Josh Kozak, who raised so much money for Cocoa House while he was a Union College student. My wife, Shantae, has really taken over the day-to-day, working with the kids, volunteering. And it gave us, with the new board, it gave us kind of a new, renewed vision. And so currently we're rehabbing my childhood home to turn it into a teen center, teen empowerment center, which will be open at later at the end of this year. We're going to be partnering with formerly Capcom, which is Broadview. We have a grant from them to build the first of its kind financial literacy center in the middle of Hamilton Hill. That will actually be in the room that used to be my dining room. We'll have a Cozy's Kids Lounge as well. So right now, when people drive by the Cocoa House, they're able to see the vision of the castle that's being built out there. So we have that. We have the community-owned green space, and we do have some other items that should be coming in the near future.
And I have visited on several occasions, and I see that each time there's a little bit more going on there. But the ideal is to provide a resource for our community, and I think that's exactly what you're doing. You mentioned your wife, Shantae, who is off camera here. We'll just wave to her and say hello. Okay.
Hello.
She is here. So we want to thank her for her work and her involvement in this. But it's the support from the community for Cocoa House, and I know there was some support even this morning. Before you came here, you talked about some support that came your way because of the impact that you're having on the community. Let's talk about that, the growing support in the community. Because when you started, it's something that had to be nurtured, something that had to be developed. It was something that started. You restarted actually, and you brought new life into it.
Yes. Yeah, so Cocoa House started over 25 years ago. I'm kind of dating myself in the fact that myself and my sisters, we were the first students there when it started. An amazing vision by, former Union College student Rachel Graham. And, when I took over 6 years ago, Cocoa House was struggling financially. And it was a blessing for me to be able to go back home and to be able to take over a program that meant so much to my family as a kid. And to be able to create not only a renewed vision, but renewed trust within the community. Building new partnerships, building new opportunities, creating a renewed vision because, our youth, the community itself has evolved over the last 20 or so years. So we wanted to create something that reflected the needs and the wants of the youth that are in the community right now. So we're excited about this new Teen Empowerment Center we're building because we're going to be able to do some really creative things and turn over ownership of both of the programs really to the community, which is something that's never really been done.
And you did mention you're looking to do a sort of a community garden behind, around the corner from Cocoa House. I don't know if the viewers there can envision where this is. And you also acquired some new property on I want to say to the east of it, I guess east side, and there's some new property you just acquired recently.
Yeah, so we're looking to build a community-owned green space on the corner of Emmett Street. For people who grew up in the city of Schenectady, there used to be a store there a long time ago. And again, the purpose of what we're doing, and what's always really been my purpose, is I wanted to utilize Cocoa House to turn it into a community hub. I believe in our ability to do more than just provide after-school mentorship program. I believe in our collective ability as a community to respond to all the needs of the people and the families in the community, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's financial literacy. And I think the greatest testament to that is understanding that I don't have to do it by myself. I don't have to create another program. What we've been able to do is use Cocoa House strategically to create partnerships in which all of us can come to the table and serve our community, because we're better together.
You mentioned your childhood connection as well to the structure of the house itself, and you're very familiar with it. What's it like years later now, having that sort of childhood connection and then coming back and just having those childhood memories still there and that connection? How special is that?
It's special now. And interesting enough, all this really started with you, because we actually did an interview at my childhood home when I ran for school board. And if you remember, the head of Cocoa House, he came outside and they were wondering what we were doing there. And we had a conversation with him, and I told him, I'm the reason why you can't sell this house. And afterwards, we had a conversation just about my childhood and some of the things that I experienced and some of the things that happened in that area. And that's when he provided me with the opportunity. He says, well, what if you could have both houses? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, well, Cocoa House at that time, they were experiencing, like I said, a little bit of turmoil, and they were thinking about closing. And I talked to my wife, and we had a conversation. She says, I don't know why you're asking me, because you already made up your mind, which I had. But I still wanted to ask her permission. And with that, I was able to become the executive director of Cocoa House and really do some really great work. And again, with a renewed board and stuff like that. In the beginning, walking through the house was very hard. I had a lot of traumatic experiences there. So it was difficult, but now seeing the renovation, seeing everything happen, it's been great.
And seeing, like I said earlier, seeing the community support and everybody rallying around supporting this, everybody sees the benefits of it. And I think that will continue. And I think your work is going to continue to grow and flourish and inspire others, as it has been doing. I do want to get into what one of the events coming up.
Yeah.
You have a number of different events. I can't go through them all because it would take the entire show. But one of the ones we want to talk about today specifically is the Common Unity Cup.
Yes, sir.
Great success. I did the best I could in the sports. I tried to get in shape for this year, so I'm ready. So Common Unity Cup is happening again this year.
Yes.
Let's make the announcement. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about last year first.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we saw last year.
Yeah, 518 Common Unity Cup, 5 weeks, 5 sports, 5 locations, 1 cause, community and community service engagement, 8 representing the 8th month of the year, August, 518. So, when I had the opportunity to sit down with the police chief and some, local officials, and again, the city, the county, all the local officials were absolutely amazing in supporting this initiative. It was like, let's do something that knocks it out the park. Let's not do a one-day event. We've all done those. Let's do a whole month. Let's get people out and about. Like we talked about, we spent 2.5 years in the house because of COVID. We want to get people outside and get them, experiencing the parks and experiencing sports and just really experiencing life again. And so what was great about the 518 Community Cup last year was the smiles, the energy, the competition. I love JP because that's just what he brings to the table. But watching every week to see how it evolved, to the point where the local police officers and fire department, they were all bringing their kids to all these events, not dressed as officers, but they were coming out there in sweats and shorts and t-shirts, and everybody was participating together in these events. And what that created was a long-term and long-standing relationship with the community, in which we all went to Aladdin together, a Broadway show at Proctor's. And then we rented out 4 theaters for Black Panther, in which the fire department and police officers went there, not dressed as officers, but they went there as everyday people, and they sat with the community and experienced the movie, and we all had these great big engagements together.
Now, the one thing that I took note of, it's all ages.
Yeah.
You had little ones, you had people that everywhere, every age in the middle, teenagers, you had parents there, all coming together, like you said, and just enjoying enjoying our community.
Yeah.
Also, it's a learning experience too, learning who your neighbors are. And sometimes people that came to us, that would come to one event, you'd see different people
Yes.
at the next event. And I think that's what makes it special, is that everyone's invited.
Yes,
right? There's no
absolutely.
one excluded here.
No.
You want to come, all abilities, all ages, you
Yeah.
can participate. And I think that is really meaningful and sends a good message to our community.
And the big thing about it that we planned intentionally was to raise all the money up front so that the entire event was free. So all the food, all the giveaways, the T-shirts, the drinks, everything for the entire community who came out, everything was free. Yeah. So there was no sign-ups, there was nothing requested from the community to participate. And as well as vendors, we wanted to create the opportunity specifically so businesses, vendors, organizations, agencies, you want to come out and engage with the community, you want to provide them with the information of who you are and who your service is. We created this space for an entire month where anybody could come out and you could do that.
And I think for the most part, we had good weather the entire time.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little bit of rain at one event, so I'm not really sure. But last year we added an event, like we had, I forget what the total was. But this year, how many were we looking at?
Right now we're 5 weeks, 5 sports, 5 locations. Week 1, August 1st, Martin Luther King School. We'll be starting with dodgeball, and we're actually going to be ending this year, August 31st, at Schenectady High School with flag football under the lights.
And anybody that wants to participate or learn more can go on your website or Facebook
yeah,
page?
you can find the information on the flyer on social media. You can email me at thecommonunity@icloud.com.
Okay, and we'll put that up, and and I'll put some information up on my website as well. I'm looking forward to this year. I think that hopefully I'll do a little better with the sports, but I'm excited just to be there and to be a part of it. And I think it's a wonderful thing that you bring to our community. Before we end, as I said, you are involved with so many different things. I just want to touch on a few other things. Yeah. You are involved with the community police new hire panel and virtual reality by Catapult Gaming. VRPD. Let's just talk about those few other community things that you're involved with here. I know there's a long list, and I can't go through them all, but let's talk about those. I think they're significant. Both are important for our community.
Yeah, well, the community police new hire panel was the idea I had 3 years ago during the height of the George Floyd incident during the reform. The mayor McCarthy he convened a leadership group, and we were just talking about some things we wanted to change, some things we wanted to do. And the idea I had was giving the community an opportunity to sit down and engage with potential police officers before they became police officers, having a discussion with them, having a conversation with them, learning about why they want to become officers in the city of Schenectady, and really giving them an opportunity to learn about our community. It wasn't until I got to Soledad O'Brien that I learned that it was the first of its kind ever, in the nation, and that I, had created this historical element. And it's been great so far. I think the last 49 officers that have been hired in the city of Schenectady, we have all interviewed and gone through this process with, and it's really been a blessing because you learn so much more about who these individuals are. The VRPD is very similar in the sense of we had 7 or 8 community conversations over a 1.5-year span in the community between police and local people, and we just learned so much about what the expectations are, what are the experience of individuals in the community, what are the experience of police officers, and in that, Dane Jennings, who is a really good friend, he's created a phenomenal product here at home that is a reflection of those discussions and conversations. So to have something like that built in the city of Schenectady that can train local law enforcement is really important. So I'm glad to be a part of that.
It's really groundbreaking. Thank you, Will. I think we're out of time. I wish we could talk more. We'll have to have you back on the show. If you get a chance, visit Cocoa House, visit my district office, visit my website. You'll find a lot more information about Will Rivas and the great work he's doing in our community. Will, thank you so much. And we will see you at the Community Games. Thank you. Take care, everybody.